Hello, my name is Michael Ryan and I'm an independent management consultant. I'm here today with a colleague of mine, Mark Vincent, and with Jason Cobine. Over the course of the last 10 years as an independent management consultant, I have had to ensure that all my insurances are in order. I had a personal recommendation for Cobine Carmelson from another peer, and all of my insurance needs for all of the business ventures which I've engaged in over the last 10 years have been taken care of by Jason Cobine. Has absolutely amazed me at the extent to which Jason is a risk management expert, is what I would describe him as opposed to just an insurance broker. Jason, introduce yourself.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure helping, by the way. Always fun. So Jason Cobine, we basically help business owners, typically the FDs, the MDs, and also CISOs, get a good night's sleep. The three reasons, typically when people come to us, they say something like, we've already got insurance, but the way things have changed, we don't know if it's going to work anymore. We get others, FDs typically call us up, say we've had a small issue and the service we were expecting didn't really happen, so now we're a little bit worried about what happens when we have a big issue. And the most common we get is people saying that since COVID, their business has changed, more remote workers, less suppliers, and they don't think that their risk management is kept up to date, so they're worried that something new might happen that blindsides them. They don't think what they've got is fit for purpose anymore. So they ask us to have a look at it.
Okay. Basically, my approach to this has been, and particularly since COVID, as Jason manages it or mentions it, is to expand into different areas in order to promote my business. That's involved me producing an industry magazine, a book, producing conference events, and every single one of these, Jason has risk assessed for me and advised with regards to a particular insurance policy. So I don't just take out standard insurance policies for the fact that I provide management consulting advice. And similar to Mark, who's also a consultant, our clients are the larger corporates. We're individual one-man legal entities. And having worked as part of one of the big four firms before, where all the insurance was taken care of by the firm, I now need to ensure that all of this is done and in place to assure my own clients. What's your type of experience with it, Mark?
Kind of similar, really. Yeah, I mean, as a business owner, we are often, insurance can be low down the list in some ways until it's needed. So yeah, we tend to have to sort of go with what we believe, we need in the moment, but we're not experts for sure.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the core rationale of my business is to enable large-scale corporates to perform or to transform their finance functions. And having access to somebody like Jason, whose mindset, to my mind, can assess risk in a way which I just don't think of, means that I've been able to bring solutions to some of my own clients and advise them on how they can mitigate some of the risks they face within their own finance teams. And that's about the second reason why I would happily endorse Jason and the work that he does.
I think, risk assessment for us is part of the mix. So insurance is great, it's useful, it helps out, yet unless the risks have been assessed, I don't really know how people can decide what type of insurance they want. And we often get people who come to us and say, I've got £10 million of cyber insurance, and if you can provide me with £10 million of cyber insurance for lower price, then we'll be your client. But the challenge is, if that's the wrong thing, it's going to reflect badly on us, it's going to damage our reputation, we won't get the introductions we used to get, so it's really important to us to get it right. So assessing the risk is the first step, rather than just saying, I'll give you what you've got because someone else thought it was a good idea. And we often find people that say to us, I need 10 million of cyber liability, probably only needed 6 million, and then they needed 3 million of something else. And as you said, it's something that's an intangible, yet it's certainly one of the things that you want to have and not need, or rather than need and not have.
Interesting. I don't know about you, Mark, but as a professional project manager, I'm your typical control freak when it comes to all the details. But however, one of the things I would never actually do is read the entire details of an actual insurance policy. That's basically what I rely upon Jason's expertise to do. And I think it was one of the learning points you gave me early on. You renew insurance, as indeed people do on a personal level for their car, every year. How often do you read the policy? Yeah, you're happy to
I think there are certain types of people who may never want to read a policy. So we have clients with all different personality styles. We have people who don't want to read the policy, so we schedule a meeting and we talk them through the bullet points, the must-dos, the things that they definitely don't want to do. But we have people at the other end of the scale who love reading the policies. They love them. They want three. They want 3 policies to read from. And then it's more about just answering the little areas of clarification and where there's legalese and jargon that they can't interpret. So it could be at either end of the scale, yet we would still insist upon doing an assessment rather than just accepting that they've already got the right thing. And just to give you a clue about assessment. So when people come to us and say, I want insurance, it's not necessarily that they want it, but they think they might need it. Now, if you bought a car, when your first insurance purchase, anyone really is their car. And really, when you buy that car, you're young and you haven't got much money. And the insurance premium is usually worth more than the car. So it's a duress purchase. And then you start hearing, or if you have a claim, you start finding out that insurance companies can be a little bit tricky in terms of getting what you need when you need it. So they start to get this impression that insurance is a duress purchase. It's worth less than you pay for it, and they don't really like it. And they carry that often into their business life, where insurance is a duress purchase, where it costs more than what it's worth. And I understand that. We understand that completely. We understand the psychology of why people are buying insurance. And we find that when they understand the true value in what they're buying, i.e. you assess the risk, what are your assets? Some assets are tangible. A lot of assets nowadays are digital. What are your income streams? How do you make money? What different levels of service have you got in order to make money? And then also, what could affect your reputation? Damage to reputation affects ability to make money and damages the value of assets. So we work on those, and people are quite surprised because they're used to be meeting people in risk management and talking about professional indemnity, public liability. And it's a slightly different approach, but when we actually do assess the risk and find out this is what the client's assets are, digital or otherwise, these are the ways that they use those assets to make money, and these are the issues that could affect their reputation. We've shortened it into a nice little acronym, assets, income, reputation, AIR. Then we can really get an understanding of, how does this business work? Instead of looking at their documents and getting an understanding of what insurance they've got. So that risk assessment step is pretty vital, especially, as I said, remember, people are talking to us now saying our business has changed. So they've got an inkling that the documentation that they file away once a year might not be right for them. But they don't really necessarily want to ring someone who's going to use jargon and not necessarily give them a good service. They want someone who's going to understand their business. So also we recognise that people have great relationships with their brokers and might not want to challenge them in that respect.
No, I have to say my entire experience of this has been your approach to it is way beyond just sending me an insurance policy for the standard things I need in order to provide management consulting expertise. It has forced me to think about it in ways I didn't think about it before, and has also given me great reassurance when I've expanded into different ventures.
I think the point you just made there, we know what our role is. Insurance companies, for example, provide insurance policies. And it's even got to the stage now where they're actually calling them products. And the Financial Conduct Authority is telling them, you need to review the product you're providing. But us, in terms of risk assessment, risk management, business continuity, and actually finding the right insurer, our service is intangible. It's a promise that everything's going to be all right. It's reassurance that when things are going wrong, it's not necessarily going to get out of hand. And we know that's what we provide. But we'll also say that we know the insurers are going to provide the products, which can give you access to fantastic things, but we're going to have to help you decide which of the products are going to be the best fit. But we can't do that until we've said, what does your business do? What are the risks? Let's assess them. So we sort of turned it on its head. Assessment first, and then we can work out which products might be a good fit. And there are some businesses where insurance won't work.
Such as?
We've got someone at the moment who is trying to sell the electric chargers, electric bicycles and the chargers. Yet there's a big challenge with the safety of these batteries.
True,
And
yes.
people aren't reading the instructions that say don't charge overnight and charging them overnight. They've been banned in all sorts of places. You can't take these things on a tube. You can't take them on buses. You can't take because they're a fire hazard. I mean, one of them caught fire on a tube about 18 months ago. So it's a very difficult business to get insurance at the moment because the insurers are saying if people aren't following the instructions, then these things are going to be left on overnight and catch fire.
Yeah.
So if someone said to us, we're looking at going into this business, we would be able to think through all the risks relating to, okay, it's fine now, the product works beautifully, but when it's in the hands of customers, they might not use it, they might not read the manual, they might not follow the instructions. They might be one of those people that doesn't read documents. So why are they going to follow the instructions? But it's a pound to a penny that if they do leave it on overnight and there's a fire in the kitchen wherever they were charging it, they're not going to say, I didn't read the instructions. So that business could do with insurance in case that happens. But right now, it's a really difficult risk to place. And there will be a better time when these articles are regulated and when the instructions are clearer and when the type of people that buy them are following instructions. But that's just one example of a risk that's too high right now. I suppose you could say, who wants to cover planes travelling to the Ukraine right now? It's not going to happen.
Right, yeah.
There are certain things that become political, and there are certain things where once it's in the hand of the users, it's very difficult to control what they do with it. So,
Do you think, Mark, that typical one-man business owners like ourselves fully appreciate the risk exposure we have and the insurance requirements, I suppose, of our industry?
I think if I was to generalise, I'd say there's maybe an awareness, and of course that'll be on a scale.
Yeah.
But let's just say if I were, take a mid position, there's probably an awareness at a certain point in time. That awareness may not adapt itself based on scenarios like you've described, which is where your business goes in a different direction. So I think that's where fitting the product to the need makes a lot more sense. I think there's, the vast majority of people will go, I need insurance. What kind of insurance is there? Well, these, there's professional indemnity, public liability, and the third one, which I've kind of forgotten. But generally, it's just you just get one of those and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to take a mid position, I'd say that's where I think most people are at.
And I think that's a fair assessment.
I think absolutely. There's fantastic reasons for that as well. Because when you look for insurance for yourself, that's what you will be offered.
Yeah.
So what insurance companies have tried to do over a number of years is niche marketing, but they've managed to commoditize the sale of certain products. And a lot of these products are complicated contracts that need some form of understanding and explanation. And yet, as these things have been digitized, there's less and less availability of advice, or you'll spend too long on a call center, etc. So whilst that happens down in your world, also in the corporate world, they're being told this is what you need to have. You must have this. Your competitors have got it. It'll look bad if you don't have this. Well, where's the risk assessment? So I can understand why people are buying what is offered to them, but if there's a little bit of a risk assessment in between, it might help.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, well it's been quite an interesting conversation, and I mean our working relationship now is at least 10 years. And during that period of time, you have taken me out more than the standard 2 insurance policies in a year, as my ventures have grown and expanded even to what we're doing here today.
And changed. So when you did the magazine,
Yeah.
then a consultant's insurance wasn't necessarily going to do the trick.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So we had to assess, well, what are the risks now? What's the difference? And then find out assets, income, reputation, and we address those and provide you with something different because you changed.
I think I like that. Assets, income, and reputation.
Yeah.
How do they contact you?
So if everything's working correctly, you should just need to type Jason Cobine into the internet and then we'll pop up. So we are on LinkedIn especially. We've got a website, cobinecarmelson.com. We're also on Twitter, which is Jason Cobine. Instagram's the other way around, Cobine Jason. The name Cobine, C-O-B-I-N-E, is not many of us.
No.
And we'd love to hear from you because even if it's someone who just says, I'm not 100% sure, I'd like a second opinion,
Yeah.
we would love to help you if we can. And first way to start that, 5-minute conversation, and then we'll work out whether anything we do that has been of use to others, like yourself, could be of benefit to people we don't yet know.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jason Cobine, risk management expert.
Thanks, Michael.